Hello everyone and welcome to my channel. Today I'm trying something a little different. It's kind of a color and chat a little bit, but it's got a theme to it. So I have all these notes because I want to remember everything that I want to talk about. And that is things that I love about the coloring community. And some of these things I've talked about multiple times. I've mentioned them in my videos, but I felt like, especially now with some of the hurt that some of the coloring community is experiencing, that the timing of this content was something that maybe some people need to hear, and this is applicable now and it's applicable probably in the future, and it's always been applicable to myself. So the first, and also I will be coloring in Misfits by Stag. But yeah, the first thing that's like the most obvious and like the most the most cliche thing about what I love about the coloring community, color tube, colorgram is the community, which, I mean, it's kind of, might seem silly to say that, but at least for me, it's been so true. Especially like being part of different communities with some of my other hobbies and passions. It's just so positive and so supportive. Like, you get everyone makes supportive comments and positive comments on pictures that colorists post and videos, like whether it be a completed pages video or a flip through video or a haul video or color and chat or the live color and chats. Like there's just this amazing sense of community that in a lot of other categories doesn't really exist the same way. Like the art community, for example, is, I mean, there are some amazing people out there, but it also is an extremely competitive community. And I don't really get that with the coloring community. It does not, at least to me, it doesn't feel competitive. Sorry, I I keep having to get up to help myself with things. Like it's one where if I posted a picture on Instagram, for instance, like people, regardless if it was 5 months or a week since my last post, like people are really supportive and positive and uplifting. And I've never, I have seen some comments that were, on YouTube channels and whatnot that aren't necessarily positive. But that is very often rare. And even when I've only gotten a handful of negative comments, and usually it's something where I'm easily able to give that person the benefit of the doubt, like maybe they were having a bad day or experiencing something rough, and maybe it's just I have a bit of a thicker skin. In some instances, I just tend to go with the flow a lot, but anyways, I digress. Another thing I love about the coloring community is the friendships that I've been able to make and the friendships that I've seen others make. It's so fun to see other color tubers interact with each other and support each other, and we all comment on each other's videos, and I've made some great friends on ColorTube and on Instagram. that, give, a sense of community and a hobby. And also along with that is, like, a lot of times we'll mention other channels in our video, or say, oh, so and so, I saw this on their channel, and then we'll link it below. And I think that's really neat because it, to the point that I made earlier about it doesn't feel like it's this competitive community, is that's such a simple way to promote another channel and share other channels, because there are channels that are even what would be considered a larger color tube channel that I am just now discovering because people mention it in their videos, like, and so I'll click on that link and go check out the other video and end up enjoying their content. So I think it's such a fun way that we have created to promote other channels and make it not just about ourselves, and make it more about the community, and to give that sense of camaraderie that comes with it. And yeah, so I have found so many color tubers that way, and yeah, it's just another thing that I love about the community. And then the sorry, I'm coming to a blank. Oh, and another part of that too is sometimes people will make maybe a less than kind comment, or something could be taken out of context and people get defensive about that or whatnot. But what I've seen is when a colorist is having a bad day, or maybe somebody said something unkind to a colorist, like, other people will come in and say, will kind of have their back, per se, where they'll try to uplift and support, and there's a lot less drama in the coloring community than some of the other communities that I've seen. And I think that's really neat, that if we see somebody feels like they were attacked, like somebody, or if somebody's having a hard time with their health, mentally or physically, like, other people will rally and say, hey, I'm praying for you, or wishing you well. And that's not always something that you see, especially now with everything that's just been going on in the past couple of years. And then another thing that I love is like, color and chats, where you watch the color and chats and it feels like you're with a friend, and you're talking to a friend, and you're part of their life. And I don't know, it just, some color and chats that I watched, it just feels like so intimate, and like you're right there with them. And I think that's something that's really fun, and I love that. It's so nice, like, when you're having maybe a lonely day or a hard day, or even just like a happy day, to have that sense of understanding in a way. Another thing that I love is there's support for all styles of coloring, like, whether it's something that's worthy of being framed, because it's just so stunning and so beautiful, or if it's maybe limited color palettes, or experimental, or straight coloring, or maybe a colorist colored a page and they don't particularly like it, there's so much support for all styles of coloring, and I don't think I've ever really seen many comments or any comments that say, oh my gosh, this looks horrible, why would you even think of coloring something this way, or you should start shading, or that color combination is terrible. Like, it's all, from what I've seen, been really supportive of any type of style for anyone in any type of walk of life. And I think that is something really cool, because it also just like eliminates this need to feel like I have to create something perfect, because that's not what coloring is about. Coloring is about so much more, like helping with anxiety, or when I'm feeling restless or stressed, or, you know, so many colorists use it as a way to cope, you know, and help them approach their mental health. And it's a great way to forge friendships, and yeah, so and then just like seeing how generous the coloring community is as well. Like, nobody is ever obligated to send coloring books to anybody, or even do giveaways. And yet you see it all the time where subscribers and other color tubers will send coloring books to their friends, or to the channels that you know, have really inspired them, or they want to show support to that channel. And you know, that's not something that's necessary, but it's something that people do. And I think it's something that's just kind of like another positive of the coloring community, is we want to share beautiful coloring books and beautiful art with each other. And you know, I hope nobody would feel left out of that, but as much as we love to support each other and support other people, it's so hard to cover every single base. And then and you know, just like some giveaways are so, you know, that's not something that's necessary, but it's something that color tubers do to thank the community, and I think that's cool too. And then another thing that I love about being part of the coloring community is seeing everybody's creativity. You know, it is really inspiring to see, you know, other people's colorings that they do, and just being inspired to pull out maybe forgotten, as in, you know, hasn't been colored in for a while, or intimidating books, or to try something new. Because like, to be completely honest, when I first started coloring, I would use only Prismacolors on one page, or only polychromos, or only watercolor. Like, I never mixed media until I started watching what other colorists did, and saw like how much more dynamic coloring pages could be, and you know, when using multimedia. And there's so many times where I've been in a coloring slump, and I just, you know, I want to color, but I don't feel inspired. And so when things get to that point for me, I'll watch coloring videos, and I'll watch completed pages and coloring book collection videos, because those usually will show what people have colored. And more often than not, it gets me back into like, oh, let me try that picture out in this book, or you know, oh, I forgot that I wanted to color a picture in that book this month. So it's a really fun way to really get inspiration and kind of even motivation, because there are some books and pictures where I've been so like, I love the artwork, and I will flip through my books and just look at the artwork and soak it in, but I'm like too intimidated to color something. And I'll see somebody else who, perhaps was also intimidated, or maybe they went in with full confidence and it turned out amazing. And um, then that gives me the courage and like oh, I could, I could try that picture. That one, just like getting your toes wet. Um, and let's see. Yeah, so it just, you gain so much inspiration for color combinations and techniques, or a new media to try, because there are some media that I never would have even thought about using for my coloring books, like my fine tech, like these pearlescent watercolors. I never would have thought of using something like that on a coloring page until I saw it on somebody else's channel, and I thought, that is such a beautiful thing. And also there's some other, some other media that I want to try that, I'm budgeted for later, because to be real, you can't buy everything, and you shouldn't buy everything, at least, and I'm extremely cautious about making sure that what I buy is something that I 100% know I'll use. But there are some things that I want to try that I never would have thought of trying, like, what are they called? They're like the ink pads. I can't remember what those are called. And then you use them. Zucchini Kitty uses them a lot. Things like that, that you never would have thought of had you not like come out of this little bubble. And using wet media on Create Space paper, never would have considered that. But there are colorists who do it, and they do it amazingly, like Coloring with Vicky. She does amazing things on Create Space paper. And so it just, I guess, being part of the community opens up these creative possibilities that maybe you wouldn't have discovered as soon. Like, I had never heard of polychromos pencils until I started watching ColorTube videos, and I was curious about them, and I was like, how did none of my art teachers tell me about these amazing pencils? And yeah, so and just like, gaining motivation to color from other people's creativity, and discovering new artists and new supplies. And yeah, so that's another thing that I love about the coloring community, is discovering those new artists and new supplies. And as an artist myself, I love to support other artists. That is something very important to me. So I love watching haul videos, because it often helps me discover a artist who I had never heard of before, that their work is just beautiful. And I've discovered very well-known artists that way, and I've also discovered a lot of smaller artists that way. And like, that's a really big thing, is for me to support other artists. And one way that I can do that is to buy their coloring books and buy their artwork and color their artwork and show their artwork, and spreading that word of like, hey, look at this cool thing that I just found. Um, and yeah, so I I watch so many haul videos for that reason. Um, and um, also, I've like heard some people comment like, "Oh my goodness, I I should color in this coloring book. I bought it and I haven't touched it. Like, shame on me." But my perspective is a lot different, where I view my coloring book collection as also a collection of art. Because even if I'm not coloring in a book per se, I still will look at the pictures and I will, flip through the pages and make up stories with my kids about what each page is about. And because for me, it's not just a book to color in, it's a book of art to appreciate and enjoy. And yeah, so I hope all of you who have maybe a lot of unfinished coloring books or untouched coloring books, or not as touched coloring books that you're feeling guilty about, that you can, give yourself some grace and say, even if I have changed my mind about this coloring book and I give it away, I still supported an artist, or I am collecting artwork and making it my own. Because there are some coloring books that I probably will never, physically color in. I'll scan them and color them because they are, to me, so precious. And also, they are kind of a collectible at this point because they're out of print. And I do have some out of print books that I still do color in directly in the book. But there are some that I don't do that for. So yeah, I love, finding new art and collecting new art. And then I did say this a little earlier too, but just like I love seeing how different supplies are used, or learning of a color tuber's vision for a more unconventional supply, from like pencils and markers. And yeah, so, and I feel like, let's see, there was another point that I wanted to make and I forgot to write it down. But I just, and I have talked about this so many times about how wonderful this community is, and I hope that we can keep it, a positive community where, rather than making someone feel guilty or ashamed for, their passion or their hobby or their way to cope, that we can, be uplifting and inspired and, keep it a kind and positive community. Because I know for a lot of people it's such a, wow, it's such an important type of community to be in because of mental issues they may be experiencing, or excuse me, or whatnot. And yeah, it's been like, it's helped me in a lot of ways, and not even realizing it sometimes, just how lucky we are to have such a supportive group of people in the same hobby, where women and men can get together and have like the same excitement for a book or a supply, or to give that mental support, or that understanding. And it's just a great way. And yeah, I'm really grateful that I decided, maybe I can't remember, it was 3 or 4 years ago, I decided to be brave and to publish that first awful video, and it's it's not the most amazing video, but I did it, and it's been life-changing. And I guess my ask for you is, let's continue to keep this a positive place where, we can each have our own amazing ideas and support each other, and I don't know how to how to like say it, but anyways, and I'm grateful for anyone who has watched this video, and for everyone who has ever commented or subscribed. Like, that really means a lot to all of us. Like any, liking a video or commenting on a video, it's always like such a fun, thing to hear what other people have to say. Because we all have so many different opinions and ideas, but we all have like this same passion and joy from coloring. And I would also hope that anyone who is feeling disheartened, or might feel like, oh, maybe I'm not making enough content, or maybe I'm not like other color tubers, maybe or am I too much, or am I doing things wrong? Just like, as long as you are being kind, that's really the only thing that matters. It doesn't matter how often you post. It doesn't matter how many books you buy. I mean, don't go into debt, but you know what I'm trying to say, I would hope. So yeah, I hope that you were inspired by this video and encouraged to keep going, whether that's to keep coloring or to keep going with your channel. And I would, just like thank you to everybody, and I hope that you can, take things that maybe thrown into, or put into a negative light, that is somebody else's opinion and shouldn't affect the joy that this brings you. And I was hoping to finish this picture by the end of the video, but it's mostly done. I think it's gonna be really pretty when it's done. I did use just an alcohol marker for her hair, and then pastel pencils for the skin and the skull, and then the fine tech watercolors. So again, thank you so much for watching this video, and I hope it can bring some encouragement and make you feel more a part of this community. Thanks for watching, and happy coloring!